What sounds like pseudoscience but actually isn't? The illusory truth effect. People will believe something just because it is repeated, even when they know that what's being said is not true. When an amputee is experiencing phantom limb pains, massaging their stump and then the space where the limb was actually does help reduce the pains, especially if the person is already on the maximum dosage of pain meds and can't have any more. Hearing the hands against the sheets where the limb would be tricks the brain into thinking that it's still there, so it stops the nerves from overfiring as much. Trying to describe otoliths, otoconia, causing dizziness quickly in layman's terms, sounds a lot like quackery, especially when you start talking about the treatment being an all-natural set of exercises that will help you realign your inner crystals and regain balance. Yes, my dad had vertigo and I felt like an idiot trying to explain to him that his ear crystals were out of whack. I have celiacs and simply can no longer eat many things I used to enjoy. It's very effective to sit down and imagine eating some really excellent bread, the smell, the texture, the taste, how warm it is, really wallowing in the memory. And my brain, dumb idiot, is tricked. It says, oh hell yes, that was some good bread, thanks for that, it was excellent. Not sure how that applies to goals specifically, but you can absolutely change your mood with your imagination. Mycelium. You're telling me the roots of mushrooms act as a big message delivery system that not only allows information to be sent large distances across a single specimen, but can also be used by connected trees to communicate with each other and swap nutrients? This is an oversimplification, and mycelium absolutely does not think, isn't sentient, like humans do. However, I am not exaggerating just how implausible it all sounds. There are some amazing mushroom documentaries out there, and it still baffles me. Wrong word. You're looking for mycorrhizae. The really crazy part is almost nobody knew about it a few years ago, yet it's been estimated to be symbiotic with 80% of all plants. The things they don't teach us in schools. I just learned recently that certain plants actually parasitize the mycorrhizae, such as Monotropa uniflora, aka ghost pipes. And because they steal their nutrients from the mycorrhizae, they don't need chlorophyll and thus aren't green. Fascia. Biology and anatomy ignored it until pretty recently, and it's probably the #1 cause of most general pain and aches. I dissect medically donated bodies at a small independent cadaver lab, and I'm so glad fascia is finally getting proper recognition. I remember in 2013 they were like, there's this totally useless goo in your body, and a decade later, it turns out to be extremely relevant to my current health, connective tissue issues. I've never seen the inside of a person, but if you cut open a deer, they've got all these membranes and strings everywhere beyond tendons and ligament. Is that the fascia? It's really hard to drown in quicksand, but rather easy in a grain silo. I don't think I've ever heard of someone actually drowning in quicksand, but I see news stories about farmers drowning, getting buried in grain silos, probably at least once a year. Quicksand seemed to be a major problem according to movies and TV in the 90s. Having blue eyes can make you prone to sneezing when exposed to bright light. Blue eyes also take in more light, so the world is legit brighter for blue-eyed folks. If I feel a sneeze coming on, I always look at a bright light to help coax it out. I've heard of the photic sneeze reflex before, but this is the first time I've heard of a link with blue eyes. The talk about you changing personalities when switching languages apparently has truth to it. My wife is like this 100%. She born in Japan but spent her early teens through 20s in America learning the nuances of English. We live in Japan again now, and seeing her drop her directness and matter-of-fact Americanisms when switching to a Japanese interaction had me absolutely flabbergasted for the first few months. Still cracks me up when she hangs up so politely in Japanese and immediately goes, "Oh my god, that was so fucking annoying." Anything to do with platypuses?